This is Marie from Underground Crafter, and welcome to part 4 of the Layers of Texture Infinity Scarf Crochet-a-Long. We are working on an intermeshing or double crochet or interlocking crochet pattern on part 4. If you've been following along, you will have started with your staircase stitch, then you made divider rows, then you went to your horizontal and vertical stitch, more divider rows, then your chains and spine stitch, and your divider rows again. And now we have turned, and you may have noticed that when I started I actually had my stitch marker through both of these loops because I didn't want to lose them and I only had the one marker with me. But for now we're going to be using our color A, so I'm going to leave the stitch marker into color B. And again, for this particular pattern, for the sample that's in the photograph at the beginning, I use Lion Brand Heartland in Shenandoah and Joshua Tree. And for the video tutorials, I'm also using Lion Brand Heartland. This color, color A, is Glacier Bay, which is the bluish color, and color B is Big Bend, which is the brown. So if you're following along with the written pattern, we're now working on the grids and column stitch, which is 9A in the pattern, and we're starting with our color B, which again is the brown, in the back. And let me just move these yarn balls out of the way so you can see my hands a little bit more clearly. With my color A, and I'm going to chain 4, which I've been doing at the beginning of every row. And just a reminder that in intermeshing crochet, we're always using the same color to stitch into the same color. We're always skipping chain 1 spaces. We're only double crocheting into double crochets. And our stitches are all relative, so they're front or back, and that's relative to the chain 1 space of the other color. So either in front of or in back of the chain 1 space of the other color. So now that we're back on this pattern, and knowing that when we do our divider rows, our stitches aren't interlocked, so we want to line them up again. And I've got yarn everywhere here, so obviously I should have neatened up before I started. You're going to start so that the working yarn is in your dominant hand on your dominant side. So if you're a right-hander on the right side, if you're a lefty in the left side, and you'll have an extra stitch on this side. So the first chain 1 space of your color A should line up with the first double crochet of your color B. So let's just line those up now. And now we know that we were going to chain 4 and then double crochet in the back of the next stitch. So we want to position our next double crochet in the A, which is our blue, so that it comes out the back of the chain 1 space of our B, which is brown. And that's where we're going to double crochet in the back. Now this next part we're going to repeat 3 times. We're going to chain 1, we're going to skip 1, and then we're going to double crochet in the front, which is nice and easy because this A is already in the front. And then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back. So we're going to push our color A out the back of our chain 1 space of our color B. And that part is going to be repeated 3 times. So it's going to be chain 1 and skip 1, double crochet in the front, and then chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back. Okay, so that's our second time. So we'll repeat it once more. It'll be chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the front, and chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the back. Now remember, after these divider rows, you may have to double check your positioning because everything isn't lined up, it's not interlocked, so that you're not either losing stitches or missing stitches. And then for the last stitch, we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the front. And now we're going to drop our color A, and I'm going to switch out our stitch marker. So I'm going to put the stitch marker into the color A, and I'm going to leave the color B as it is. And then I'm going to chain 4 with my color B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course this is counting as a double crochet in a chain 1 space. I'm going to start with a double crochet in the back of my next color B. And now this next part I'm going to repeat all the way across. It's going to be chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the back. So this row is pretty straightforward in that the color B part of the row, which if you're following the pattern is actually row 9B, is really the same thing all the way across. So that's nice, a little bit of a break from having to read the pattern so closely, right? Because we are just doing the same thing all the way across. Oops, I didn't get that actually into the loop that I wanted. I mentioned in the last video that I try to insert my hook underneath both loops. So not in between the loops like this, but underneath both of the loops of the double crochet when I'm doing intermeshing crochet. And it just, as I said before, it gives it a little bit of an extra structure, because they're actually, as much as this feels so solid, it's really just a lot of chains. So having a little more stability in our double crochets will help to just kind of reinforce the structure of this. Okay, so that's the end of our row 9B. We're going to switch up our stitch markers again. I'm going to put them into color B. And then we're going to turn, and again, when you turn, you always are going to have the working yarn on the side of your dominant hand, and since I'm a righty, that'll be on the right side. We're actually going to leave the color B in the front, so let me just do that. Remember that those directions on where to leave the color B at the beginning of the rows, they actually are to help the rows to line up correctly, so please do follow that. So this is 10A in the pattern, so we're going to chain 4, which again is going to count as our double crochet and our chain 1 space. Then we're going to double crochet in the front of the next stitch, so I'm going to just pull this double crochet to the front, gather both loops up, and then double crochet in the front. Now we're going to repeat this next part 3 times. We're going to chain 1 and skip 1, and then we're going to double crochet in the back, and then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1, and then we're going to double crochet in the front. So that was the first time. Now we could do it 2 more times. So chain 1 and skip 1, double crochet in the back, and chain 1 and skip 1, double crochet in the front. That was twice, so one last time. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the back, and chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the front. To end this row, we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the back with our color A, and then we're going to drop our color A, switch out our stitch markers that we've been doing. So this stitch marker will go into the color A, and we'll pick up the color B, which for me is the brown. And again, if you're following along with the pattern, we are on row 10B. And of course, we're going to start the row with, you guessed it, a chain 4, which is going to count as our double crochet and chain 1 space. And then we're going to double crochet in the front of the next stitch, which is nice because it's already right here on the front waiting for us. And then we're going to repeat that all the way across. We're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the front all the way across. So chain 1 and skip 1, take this out to the front, and chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet in the front, and all the way across like that. So by this point, hopefully you're feeling a little bit more confident about your intermeshing crochet skills. And again, just, you know, as a refresher, you're always crocheting into the same color, you're always skipping chain 1 spaces, you're always crocheting into double crochets, and when we say front and back, it's all relative to the chain 1 space of the other color. So this is the start of our grids and column stitch, and you're going to repeat that set of rows, so that's going to be 9A, 9B, and 10A, 10B, until this piece from the divider rows up is going to be about 8¼ inches, or about 8½ inches, or about 1/6 of the final length you'd like your project to be. And then when you're done, we're going to add in those divider rows 3 and 4 one more time, and I'll be back in a few days with part 5. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos.